Hello my dear learners, welcome to my video series on robot technology. In this video lecture, I will be explaining about robot specification. In my previous lectures, you have understood about the robot anatomy, the configuration of the robot, and the advantages, applications, and disadvantages of the robot. The robot specifications are one of the important concept that you need to understand to uh, make you make yourself understand about how exactly the robot has to be built, and also the configurations what it can possess, and the applications whatever you are using a robot for. This lecture is presented by me, Shamant. So let us begin this lecture. So the robot is mainly specified according to the type of drive system, work volume, and type of control system. So this we have already discussed. The various types of drive system available in a robot is hydraulic drive system, pneumatic drive system, or electric drive system. Based on your application, for what purpose you are using the robot, whether if the robot is used for very heavy duty application, if it has to lift very heavy loads, then you have to go for hydraulic drive system because it possesses the capability for lifting heavy loads. And pneumatic and electric drive systems are used to lift medium and lighter loads. Whereas the work volume, we have discussed about the physical configuration of the robot, that actually clearly specifies about the work volume the robot possesses. It might be a rectangular work volume, it might be a cylindrical work volume, or it might be a spherical work volume, or an irregular shaped work volume. It all depends on the configuration. And then there are different types of control system where you can use in a robot, that is open loop control system and then a closed loop control system, based on how exactly you need to control the system. But other than these, there are certain characteristics which are used to specify the robots. They are number of axes. There are certain other characteristics which are used to specify a robot. Similarly, like how you think about the specification when you are purchasing an electronic goods. For example, your cell phones. When you have to purchase your cell phones, you will obviously look for certain specifications which are important. Likewise, even the robot have certain important specification that you need to look at. They are number of axes, capacity of a robot, speed of a robot, reach and stroke of a robot, operating environment, performance parameters, work volume, and type of drive system. Let us see how are these specifications used to determine the robot one by one. Number of axes. The number of axes specifies the number of independent degrees of freedom that the wrist end can manipulate. You need to remember here, that is the wrist end can manipulate. Here you have the wrist as which is named as J6. Okay, if this has to be manipulated, then it can be manipulated using all these degrees of freedom, that is the joints whatever we have discussed, that is revolute joint, rotational joint, twist joint, prismatic joints. They all help in manipulating the end effector. End effector will also have a particular joint, but apart from that, how it can manipulate it is based on the degrees of freedom, which is directly related to the number of axes. So here, that is the important specification you need to remember. That is the first specification. Next specification is the capacity of a robot. Capacity of a robot is very much important. You need to keep this in mind while you are selecting a robot for your application, as well as when you are designing a robot for a particular application. That is the load carrying capacity. It always understands that whether the robot should lift very higher load, that is higher the load carrying capacity lowers the accuracy. So this capacity is directly proportional or directly dependent upon the accuracy of the robot. If the load carrying capacity is very high, what happens generally, there is a sag at the end of the wrist which actually decreases the accuracy. If the load carrying capacity of the robot is very lesser, then what will happen, the accuracy will be increased. Capacity of the robot depends on the type of the drive system used, that is hydraulic drive system, pneumatic drive system, or an electric drive system. You can see an image here. The first image shows the robot carrying heavy load and then robot carrying lighter load. So when the robot is carrying a heavy load, what happens? Over a period of time, the joint, whatever is subjected to that particular stress while carrying the load, what happens? That might have it might decrease its accuracy over a period of time, and then the accuracy what the robot should provide, it will not provide you. Whereas robot carrying lighter load, it will not have that much impact on the joints, that is the stress will not be acted much upon the joints whatever it is possessing, since the wrist is carrying the lesser load. The next important specification of the robot you need to understand is speed. It refers to the distance moved by the tool in unit time. This is very much important. In unit time, how fast or how much distance the robot can be moved. It always refers to the time required to execute a specific task. I'll show you one animation. You can understand the animation is about the SCARA robot. You can see the SCARA robot here. The quickness in which the task is being executed. So it might be picking one object from a conveyor and then putting it into the pallet, or from the pallet onto the conveyor, but the quickness in which it is doing. Again, this speed of a robot depends on the type of drive system also used. If it is electric drive system, then the speed is very higher. If it is pneumatic drive system, the speed is average. Hydraulic drive system has a very lower speed in execution of the task. That is one of the important specification. The next specification what is important in a robot is reach and stroke. So very important. Reach, you need to understand, before understanding what is reach and stroke, you need to understand the definition. The distance covered by the end of the wrist to the center of the body. Here the distance covered by end of the wrist. Imagine your hand, your wrist and the tip of the finger to the center of the body. When you take that distance between the tip of the finger to your center of the body, that distance is called as the reach. Same way, even in the robot, the end of the wrist to the center of the body of a robot is called as reach. And then the distance covered by the wrist and along with the corresponding link without touching the work part is called as stroke. So stroke is the maximum distance covered by the wrist end of the robot. So now in this figure you can clearly understand what is a stroke and what is the robot reach. So here you can see the end effector. So the end effector, the tip of the end effector along with the center distance. So here you can see from the center of the robot to the end where the wrist can reach, that is called as maximum reach. Whereas the stroke is nothing but the distance from the end of the end effector to the corresponding link up to here, only up to here will give you the stroke of the robot. So that is robot reach and the stroke. The next specification is operating environment. Operating environment represents the environment where a robot can work effectively. So you can always install a robot in any environment, but there are certain environments where a robot has to work, and that environments are called as complex and contaminated environment, extremely clean and dustless environment, ordinary and workable environment, hot and hazardous environment. Where do you install a complex and contaminated work environment? Especially wherever there is too much of contamination and humans cannot enter that environment because of smelly environment. There you can install a robot. And then extremely clean and dustless environment. This is actually related to the mechanical industry, wherein when you install a CNC machine, there to load the part and unload the part you can install the robot, but it has to be a clean and dustless environment. And then ordinary and workable environment. Ordinary and workable environment always suits to your domestic application. So robot installed in a hotel wherein it is used for service, or domestic purpose robot which does cleaning of the floor job or helping in the kitchen. All those are ordinary and workable environment. And then hot and hazardous environment, especially robots which are installed in nuclear power plants. So they can be an example for this type of environment. You can see the image here. So robot in space, again, robot in space is a complex environment. So humans cannot go. Even if a human has to reach the space, it takes lot of money. So what you do is you send the robot and it can work for uh, a certain period of time. It can get the data and then send it to the uh, Earth or the people who are monitoring it. So it actually helps in reducing the cost as well as getting maximum data with limited fatalities. And then robot in clean environment. I told you robot when it is installed in a CNC work environment, there generally you should maintain a clean environment. And then robot in hazardous environment, generally for instances such as firefighting robots, when a building has been it has caught fire there, if it has to save somebody, then robot can be put into that environment and make it work accordingly. So these are certain environments where you can install a robot. Performance parameters, one of the important and specifications of a robot, what you need to understand is performance parameters. And this performance of robot is measured in terms of precision of robot's movement. So what is precision? Precision is nothing but how precisely the robot can execute the task what it has been instructed to do. And there are three important factors to determine the precision of a robot. They are spatial resolution, accuracy, and then repeatability. So we'll discuss these three performance parameters one by one. These three parameters define the precision of a robot. So performance parameters, under performance parameters, the robot's precision is defined as the function of three important factors. They are spatial resolution, accuracy, and then repeatability. What is a spatial resolution? Spatial resolution is referred to the smallest possible movement which a robot can move in its work volume. So you have understood what exactly a work volume is. It is a rectangular work volume, or it can be a cylindrical work volume, it can be a spherical work volume. But in that work volume, what is the smallest possible movement of a robot which can be done? That is called as spatial resolution. The spatial resolution depends on two factors. One is control resolution and then mechanical inaccuracies. So what are these control resolution and mechanical inaccuracies? We'll see. Control resolution is the capability of a robot to divide its work volume into smallest possible increments. Say for example, your hand has to reach 10 mm forward. If it has to reach 10 mm forward, what is that smallest possible division that you can do? How can you reach 10 mm in maximum time or smallest possible increments? You can divide 10 mm into 1 mm of each increment. That is, you can move your hand in 10 increments of 1 mm each, so that you can reach 10 mm in 10 steps. That is called as smallest possible increments. But how does it depend in robot? That depends on the bit storage capacity of the control memory. That is very much important. What is the bit storage capacity? Your computer has 32-bit memory, 64-bit memory. So that is nothing but the bit storage capacity of the control memory. For a particular axis, control resolution, it is defined by R, which is equal to S by N, where S is the stroke. We have discussed about reach and stroke in the previous slides. So if you have any doubts, go to the previous slide and understand what is stroke. Then N is nothing but the total number of increments, which is given by 2 to the power of N, where N is the small n is the bit storage capacity. So overall, you can write R is equal to S divided by 2 to the power of N. N becomes the bit storage capacity of the control memory. If it is 32-bit, you will be substituting 2 power 32. If it is 64-bit, you will be substituting 2 power 64. That will give you the control resolution. I hope you have understood what is control resolution. So here you can see the figure which is depicting the control resolution. That is, you have two end effectors here. This cone represents end effectors, and that is the wrist end, and there are 2 points which a wrist end has to reach. Okay, from one point which is the initial point, and then it has to reach to other point which is addressable point. or you can say the point what it has to reach. So from that point to this point is called as control resolution, and this distance, whatever the control resolution has, it has to be divided into smallest possible increments. That is when you get more accuracy, when you divide it. And how is that division taking place? That division is taking place by the help of the bit storage capacity, by calculating R, which is equal to S divided by 2 to the power of n. That will give you control resolution. Next is mechanical inaccuracies. What are mechanical inaccuracies? Inaccuracies in the robot links and joints will have an effect on the spatial resolution. How does it have an effect on spatial resolution? Because the inaccuracies depend on factors like load carrying capacity, speed of the robot, and maintenance factors. Generally, there will be imperfections. Hydraulic fluids and other imperfections will tend to reduce the resolution of the robot. What is the mechanical inaccuracy speaking about? It is actually speaking about the decrease in accuracy because of the factors like load carrying capacity, speed, and then maintenance factors. When the robot is continuously working on heavy load, what will happen? The accuracy drops. When the robot is executing its task very fast, over a period of time, it might lose its speed. And then if it has not been maintained properly, then also you will get mechanical inaccuracies. The next important specification, this specification is again under the performance parameters. Until now we discussed spatial resolution. Under spatial resolution we saw control resolution and mechanical inaccuracies. Control resolution you have understood, and then we understood mechanical inaccuracy. Now we are understanding what is accuracy. The ability to position the wrist end at a desired target within robot's work volume is called as accuracy. Very important. So ability to position the wrist end at a desired target. Say for example, you have a chocolate which is kept on a table. Your arm has to go and pick that chocolate. So your brain is processing and it is seeing the chocolate and you need to pick the chocolate. So if your hand does not reach the target point exactly, but it is reaching somewhere beside the target point, you will not be able to pick up the chocolate. So that means if the accuracy is not present, what will happen? You cannot execute the task. The same way, even the accuracy in robot is very much important. Accuracy will be less when the robot's links are fully extended position. When your arm is in fully extended position, then accuracy will be very much lesser. Accuracy will be very less when load carrying capacity is very high. That means when you subject heavy load at the end of the wrist, then also accuracy will come down. And also when speed is very high. Higher the resolution, higher the accuracy. Resolution, what is resolution? Here, if the work volume is able to divide into smallest possible movements, then we say resolution is more. So higher the resolution, higher the accuracy. So here this image will show you the accuracy and the accuracy of the robot. So this image, again we have seen it for the control resolution. The same thing you can understand the accuracy as well. This is the wrist end. From this point it has to reach the target point. If it does not reach the target point, then you say accuracy is not there. Again, there are different types of accuracy. First one is poor accuracy. When poor accuracy, that means your target is at the center, but where are you reaching? You are reaching somewhere around the target, but not exactly near the target. That is when you call it as poor accuracy. Good accuracy, your target is at the center, you are able to reach near the target, then you say it is good accuracy. Then poor accuracy. So again, you are able to reach a specific point, but it is not the target point, but you are reaching to the same point again and again, then you say it has good repeatability but poor accuracy. Then if you want to have good repeatability and good accuracy, all the points whatever the end effector is reaching should be at the target point only. If it is not at the target point, then you cannot call it as good repeatability and good accuracy. I will come to the repeatability part, but now in this image just understand only the accuracy. Poor accuracy and then good accuracy. So this is about accuracy. Now repeatability. So the ability to position the wrist of the robot at the same point again and again is called as repeatability. So here you can see the first one says poor repeatability, but poor repeatability and poor accuracy. So here the definition of the repeatability says the ability to position the wrist of the robot at the same point again and again. But here it is not reaching the same point again and again, but it is reaching the different locations. This is called as poor repeatability and as well poor accuracy. Whereas the second point, it has poor repeatability but good accuracy. It is reaching near the target, but it is not reaching exactly on the target point, but it is around the target point. So repeatability is poor. It is not reaching the same point again and again, but accuracy is good because it is reaching near the target. In the third figure, it is good repeatability. Repeatability is good because it is reaching one particular point again and again, but the accuracy what it has to get is not present. That is poor accuracy. The fourth image depicts good repeatability and good accuracy. Even in this image, it shows the target point, that is the program point, and the return position. So program point is P, and then if it has to return to R position again and again, once it reaches P, if it has to return to R position, but it is not reaching R position, if it is reaching somewhere else, then it is a problem. Then you say there is an error, repeatability error, and that repeatability can be defined as plus or minus R. So that is how repeatability is defined. So accuracy will be less when the robot links. I told you how exactly their accuracy changes when the repeatability also changes. So this is all about the robot specification. Thanks for watching my video lectures. If you have understood the video lecture very well, do comment in the comment section, and do subscribe to my channel Inquisitive, and do share it with your friends. Thanks a lot.